You're making decisions right now, today, about what you eat, how you move, how you spend your time. That will determine whether you celebrate your 90th birthday dancing at your grandchild's wedding, or whether you spend your final years in a hospital bed unable to recognize the faces looking down at you. I am not being dramatic. I am being honest. I am 102 years old. I have spent the last 65 years of my life studying human health, longevity, and disease prevention. I have reviewed over 10,000 research papers. I have worked with patients in 14 different countries. I have seen what works and what doesn't. And I'm going to tell you the 9 habits that separate people who live long, vibrant, healthy lives from people who die decades before they should, sick, in pain, and full of regret. These are not my opinions. These are facts backed by thousands of studies and millions of data points. If you ignore everything else you hear this week, do not ignore this. But first, let me tell you why I know this works. In 1958, my father collapsed in our kitchen. He was 49 years old, massive heart attack, dead before the ambulance arrived. He had been overweight his entire adult life. He ate fried food every single day. He never exercised. He smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. He worked 60-hour weeks in a factory and came home exhausted every night. That was normal for men in his generation. Nobody questioned it. Nobody told him it was killing him. 12 years later, in 1970, my older sister Margaret died of a stroke. She was 54 years old. She had high blood pressure that she never treated. She was diabetic. She weighed over 250 pounds. She said she didn't have time to take care of herself because she was too busy taking care of everyone else. She left behind 3 children and a husband who never recovered from losing her. By 1972, I was 48 years old. I weighed 238 pounds on a 5'9" frame. My blood pressure was 160 over 105. My cholesterol was 310. My doctor looked me in the eye and said, "Robert, if you do not change the way you're living, you will be dead within 10 years. You are walking the exact same path that killed your father and your sister." I remember sitting in that exam room, staring at the floor, thinking about my 3 kids. My youngest was only 7 years old. My wife and I had just celebrated our 20th anniversary. I had so much I still wanted to do, so much life I hadn't lived yet. And I was being told that I was killing myself with my own choices. So I changed. Not tomorrow, not next month, that day. I walked out of that doctor's office and threw away the pack of cigarettes in my pocket. I stopped eating meat, except once a week. I started walking every morning before work, just 20 minutes at first, then 30, then an hour. I lost 68 pounds over the next 18 months. My blood pressure dropped to 120 over 75. My cholesterol fell to 180. And I decided to dedicate the rest of my life to understanding why my father and sister died and why I didn't have to. I went back to school. I earned a degree in public health. I spent the next 6 decades studying nutrition, exercise science, epidemiology, and gerontology. I worked in research hospitals. I traveled to places where people lived the longest. I read every major longevity study published in the last 50 years. I am now 102 years old. I have outlived my father by 53 years. I have outlived my sister by 48 years. I still walk every morning. I still read medical journals over breakfast. I still have the energy to work in my garden, to play with my great-grandchildren, to travel, to think clearly, to contribute. I am not special. I do not have superhuman genetics. I just learned what actually works, and I did it consistently for decades. And now, I am going to share it with you. What I am about to tell you is not based on trends or fads or what some influencer is selling this week. These are conclusions drawn from peer-reviewed research conducted over half a century in dozens of countries involving millions of people. The World Health Organization knows this. The American Medical Association knows this. The top researchers at Harvard, Stanford, and Johns Hopkins know this. The problem is not the science. The science has been clear for years. The problem is that nobody is listening because the truth does not make anyone rich. The truth does not have a marketing budget. The truth does not sponsor Super Bowl commercials. But the truth is, what will save your life? Here is habit number 1. Move your body every single day. Not exercise, movement. I know the fitness industry wants you to believe you need a $200 a month gym membership and a personal trainer and protein shakes and heart rate monitors. You do not. What you need is to move the way human beings were designed to move. Walk, climb stairs, carry things, garden, dance, swim, play with your kids. The longest lived people on earth are not doing CrossFit. They are not running marathons. They are walking to their neighbor's house. They are tending their vegetable gardens. They are climbing hills because that is how they get from one place to another. A study of 1,861 elderly people in Jerusalem found that those who were physically active at age 70 had a 50% lower mortality rate over the next 8 years compared to those who were sedentary. 50%. And here is the most important part. People who started being active between ages 70 and 78 still saw massive benefits. It is never too late to start moving, but it is always too late once you're dead. So move every single day. Not for an hour at the gym. Just move through your life like your body was built to be used. Habit number 2, eat mostly plants. This is the single most consistent finding across every longevity study ever conducted. People who eat mostly plants live longer and healthier than people who eat mostly animals. This is true in Okinawa, Japan, where the average life expectancy is 84 years, and people remain active well into their 90s. This is true in Sardinia, Italy. This is true in Loma Linda, California. This is true in every blue zone that has ever been studied. The World Health Organization has confirmed this. The American Heart Association has confirmed this. The data is overwhelming. 80% of cardiovascular disease, 80% of strokes, nearly 90% of type 2 diabetes can be prevented with lifestyle changes that center on eating more plants and fewer animal products. I am not telling you to become a vegan. I am not telling you to never eat meat again. I am telling you what the research shows. The longest lived people on earth eat meat maybe 4 or 5 times per month. Not per day, per month. They eat vegetables with every meal. They eat beans and lentils and whole grains. They make meat a side dish, not the centerpiece. So eat more vegetables, eat more legumes, eat more whole grains, eat less meat. If you want to live a long life, this is not optional. Habit number 3, stop eating before you're completely full. The Okinawans have a phrase for this. They call it hara hachibu. It means eat until you are 80% full, then stop. This is not some mystical Eastern wisdom. This is caloric restriction, which is one of the most robustly supported interventions for longevity in all of biology. When you eat less than you want, but more than you need, your cells shift from growth mode into repair mode. This reduces inflammation. It reduces oxidative stress. It has been shown to extend lifespan in yeast, in worms, in mice, in primates, and in every other organism that has ever been studied. You do not need to count calories. You do not need to weigh your food on a scale. You just need to stop eating a few bites before you feel stuffed. Eat your biggest meal early in the day when your body can actually use the energy. Eat your smallest meal in the evening, and then stop eating for the night. Do not snack after dinner. Do not graze all day long. This constant eating that the modern food industry encourages is slowly killing us. Our bodies were designed to have periods of fasting, periods where we are not constantly digesting food. Give your body that time. Stop eating before you're full. Habit number 4, cut the sugar. And I need you to pay very, very close attention to this one. For decades, the food industry told us that fat was the enemy. That saturated fat was clogging our arteries and killing us. That was a lie. A deliberate, well-funded lie created by the sugar industry to distract from their own product. The truth is that added sugar, especially the industrial quantities we consume in sodas and processed foods and candy and baked goods, is one of the primary drivers of heart disease, diabetes, obesity, liver disease, and early death. A study from the CDC and Harvard found that people who consumed 25% or more of their calories from added sugar were nearly 3 times more likely to die from heart disease than those who consumed less than 10%. 3 times. And this relationship held true regardless of body weight, age, gender, or physical activity level. Sugar is not just making you fat. Sugar is damaging your heart. It is damaging your liver. It is damaging your blood vessels. It is creating chronic inflammation throughout your entire body. The average American consumes over 70 pounds of added sugar every single year. That is not food. That is poison. There is no other word for it. Your body does not need any added sugar. None. Zero. It can make all the glucose it needs from complex carbohydrates like vegetables and whole grains. Added sugar is a drug, and we have become a nation of addicts. So, cut the sugar, cut the soda, cut the candy, cut the cookies and cakes and ice cream, cut the processed foods that hide sugar under 50 different names on the ingredient label. If you do nothing else I tell you today, do this. Your life depends on it. Habit number 5, eliminate or drastically reduce alcohol. And I know this is not what you want to hear. For years, we told people that moderate drinking 1 or 2 glasses of wine per day was actually good for you. We said it protected your heart. We said it reduced stress. The evidence now shows we were wrong. A massive study funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation analyzed data from 195 countries and found that the level of alcohol consumption that minimizes your overall risk of dying is 0. 0 glasses of wine, 0 beers, 0 cocktails. Now, there is some nuance here. For people over 40 without underlying health conditions, very small amounts of alcohol may provide modest protection against heart disease, but that tiny benefit is completely offset by increased risk of cancer, liver disease, accidents, violence, and a dozen other causes of death. The researcher who led that study, Max Griswold, was himself a social drinker. He said he had to completely reconsider his own habits after seeing the data. I stopped drinking alcohol entirely 42 years ago. I do not miss it, not even a little bit. If you drink, I am not telling you that one glass of wine is going to kill you. I am telling you that 0 is the safest number, and the more you drink, the more you are shortening your life. Habit number 6, do not use tobacco in any form. I almost did not include this because it seems so obvious, but I have lived long enough to know that obvious things still need to be said. Tobacco use is still the single largest preventable cause of death in the world. If you smoke, nothing else I have told you today matters as much as quitting. Not diet, not exercise, nothing. Smoking causes lung cancer, throat cancer, mouth cancer, esophageal cancer, bladder cancer, pancreatic cancer, heart disease, stroke, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, emphysema, and a dozen other conditions that will kill you slowly and painfully. If you do not smoke, do not start. If you do smoke, quit today, not next week, today. And if someone you love smokes, show them the research. Beg them to stop. My father smoked a pipe every evening. I wonder sometimes if that is what really killed him. If he had quit at 40, would he have lived to 80? Would he have met his grandchildren? I will never know. But you still have the chance to make that choice. Habit number 7, stay connected to other people. Human beings are social animals. We evolved in tribes. Our brains are wired for face-to-face contact, for shared meals, for physical touch, for belonging to a community. And when we do not have that, we die earlier. That is not poetry. That is epidemiology. Loneliness is as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Social isolation increases your risk of heart disease by 29%. It increases your risk of stroke by 32%. It doubles your risk of dementia. It shortens your lifespan by an average of 15 years. In Okinawa, they have something called a moai. These are social support groups that form in childhood and stay together for life. One moai that researchers studied had been meeting together for 97 years. 97 years. The average age of the members was 102. They got together every single day to talk, to laugh, to share food, to look after each other. When one member did not show up, the others walked to her house to check on her. That is what human beings need. Not followers on Instagram, not likes on Facebook, real people, real relationships, real community. My wife Eleanor and I were married for 61 years. We walked together every single morning for over 50 years. We ate our meals together. We read books together. We argued and made up and grew old together. She died 7 years ago at the age of 95. And when she died, I understood for the first time in my life what all the research on loneliness was really describing. It is not just sadness. It is a physical ache, a feeling that part of you has been cut away. Find your people. Keep them close. Call them. Visit them. Eat with them. Laugh with them. Your life literally depends on it. Habit number 8. Have a reason to get up in the morning. The Okinawans call this ikigai. The Costa Ricans call it plan de vida. Western researchers call it having a sense of purpose. Whatever you call it, the data is clear. People who feel their lives have meaning live significantly longer than people who do not. This is not about career success. It is not about money or status or fame. It is about feeling that your days matter, that you are contributing something, that you have not yet finished whatever you were put on this earth to do. A study of over 6,000 people found that those with a strong sense of purpose were 50% less likely to die over a 14-year period compared to those without one. I am 102 years old. I still wake up every morning with things I want to do. I still read the latest medical journals over breakfast. I still correspond with researchers around the world. I still mentor young doctors and health professionals. I still write. I still have projects I have not finished. When I wake up, I know what I am going to do that day, and I know why it matters. That is purpose. It does not have to be grand. It does not have to change the world. It just has to be yours. So find it, volunteer, mentor someone, create something, learn something new, take care of someone, contribute in whatever way feels meaningful to you. Do not retire into nothingness. Retire into purpose. Habit number 9, prioritize quality sleep. This is the habit most people ignore, and it is killing them. Sleep is not a luxury. It is not something you can cut back on to be more productive. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. It is when your brain clears out toxins. It is when your immune system strengthens. It is when memories are consolidated and learning happens. Study after study shows that people who consistently sleep less than 6 hours a night have significantly higher rates of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, obesity, depression, and early death. A study of over 1 million people found that sleeping less than 6 hours or more than 9 hours was associated with increased mortality. The sweet spot is 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night. Not lying in bed scrolling your phone, not tossing and turning. Actual restorative sleep. I go to bed at the same time every night. I wake up at the same time every morning. I do not drink caffeine after noon. I do not eat heavy meals late in the evening. I keep my bedroom cool and dark. I have followed this routine for over 40 years, and I sleep like a baby. Prioritize your sleep the way you prioritize eating and breathing, because it is just as important. Summary and recap. So there they are, 9 habits. Move your body every single day, eat mostly plants, stop eating before you're full, cut the added sugar, eliminate or drastically reduce alcohol, do not use tobacco, stay connected to real people, have a purpose that gets you out of bed, and prioritize quality sleep. None of this is complicated. None of this requires expensive supplements or miracle pills or secret formulas. None of this requires you to be rich or privileged or genetically gifted. This is what the research has been telling us for 50 years. The problem is that the truth does not have a marketing budget. The truth does not make pharmaceutical companies billions of dollars. The truth does not sponsor television shows or pay influencers to promote it on social media. But the truth is, what works? I think about my father sometimes. He was 49 years old when he died. 49. There are people watching this video right now who are older than that. He never got to meet his grandchildren. He never got to retire. He never got to travel or read all the books he wanted to read or do all the things he said he would do someday. He did not have the information I am giving you today. He grew up in a time when doctors recommended cigarettes for stress and butter on everything, and when nobody talked about vegetables or movement or purpose. He ate what his parents ate. He lived how his neighbors lived. He had no reason to think it was killing him until it was too late. But you do not have that excuse. You are watching this video on a device that gives you access to the entire sum of human medical knowledge. You can look up every single study I have mentioned today. You can read the research yourself. You can learn exactly what the longest-lived, healthiest people on earth do differently than everyone else. The information is not hidden. It is not expensive. It is not locked behind some paywall or secret membership. It is right there. The only question is whether you will do anything with it, or whether you will keep living the way you're living right now, making the same choices that are stealing years from your life, and then act surprised when you end up sick and dying decades earlier than you should have. I am 102 years old. I have lived 53 years longer than my father. 53 years. I have watched my children grow up, get married, and have children of their own. I have held my great-grandchildren in my arms. I have traveled to 47 countries. I have read thousands of books. I have had 53 more years of sunrises and laughter and learning and love than I would have had if I had kept living the way I was living at 48 years old. This is not about living forever. Everyone dies. I am going to die, probably soon, but I will die having lived fully until the very end. I will die without having spent 20 years in hospitals and nursing homes, confused and in pain, being kept alive by machines. I will die having squeezed every single good year out of this body that it had to give. And that is what I want for you. Not immortality, not some fantasy of living to 150, just all the years you're actually owed. All the healthy, vibrant, meaningful years that bad information and bad habits and bad food are stealing from you right now, today, while you still have time to change. So make the changes, not someday, not after the holidays.
Not when things settle down at work. Today. Start moving today. Cut the sugar today. Call someone you love today. Go to bed on time tonight. Make one change today, and then another one tomorrow, and then another one the day after that. Your future self is out there waiting for you. Older, wiser, healthier, grateful that you made these choices when you still could. Give that future self a chance to exist. Because if you do not, I promise you, one day you will be lying in a hospital bed, too sick and too late to change anything, wishing desperately that you had listened to someone like me when you still had the chance. Do not let that be you. You deserve better. Your family deserves better. Your future deserves better. The information is in your hands. What you do with it is up to you.